Hey, good morning. I'm Ken. Welcome to Mostly Career Slots. And this morning we're going to talk about, and I'm going to show you how to repair one of these wireless controllers when your button doesn't work anymore. You can't switch lanes and the fuel. You got a bad button. So we're going to take one out of a wireless controller. That sounds really good. We're going to put that into the wireless one. So let's get started. So the first thing you got to do is take this one apart. So I've basically removed the screws, take the handle off. There's a couple screws in there. One of them is a Torx bit, so you got to have a Torx tool, and then the other is Phillips screwdriver. And then once you open it up, then you got to take the plate off the bottom, and then once you open it up, you expose your bad switch. And then I think we can get a shot of that. See how it's not working? The switch is just terrible. Take this off, take this out, and we're down to that. I already took the screw out, so I can just lift this board on out, okay? So the trick is gonna be to desolder these 3 points right here. Once you desolder those, the switch should come out, and then we're gonna replace this one on here. But we're gonna desolder it out of this first, so we can make sure we know what we're doing, and not screw up a wireless remote. Click, click. Here's what we're going to be taking out. We're going to transfer it to the other one. So we're going to pop this out, set that aside, take this out. So there's a little spring that it hooks to at the top up here. You just lift it off the hook, leave the spring dangling. Now take that screw out there. It goes over here. Now I get this board out. Set that aside. So here's our 3 points. You'll notice that if you look at it closely, in some cases this one is not soldered, just these two pieces, but that's the only connection point on the wired controller. But on this one, all 3 spots are soldered, and every time I've taken one of these apart, all 3 spots are soldered. So if you also want to be careful around here, these are plastic guides, and you don't want to melt those by touching them with your soldering guns. One thing you're going to have is a solder sucker, a little suction thing. Once you get your solder hot, you'll put it right next to it. You do that, and it'll pull the solder off. So I've already got my soldering gun all heated up here. All right, so we're going to just stick this thing on, get it nice and hot, and then all right, there's one. There's 2. There might be 3. Next step is going to be to see whether they're going to pull out of there. Little screwdriver. Might have to get something else. See if I can pop up. There it is. See it sliding right up and out. That one's a little more stuck. Oh, there it goes. So once you have successfully removed the good switch, this one's no good. Now we're gonna set that aside. Now put this guy in here, same thing. Gonna go after these solder points. Take my soldering gun, same thing. Sometimes you gotta add new solder to old solder to get it to loosen up. Yeah, maybe. Should be good. Yep. So I'm not too worried about this outer one, but these are the ones I want to clear. So sometimes if you are having some issues getting things through, you can take a needle or a pin to kind of make sure that the solder's out of your way. And I guess you've got to be careful because you don't want to pull the print off of it. All right, so let's see if we can get this guy. Yeah. All right, so that's going pretty good. Come on. If I can get the pins in place, I'd be super happy. Come on. Almost there. I'm going to use a little force. There. All right, switches in, flush. Ooh. So it looks like it's gonna work. So now it's just a matter of soldering at least those 2 points. These two. Right here. I'm gonna put a little solder paste on there. Kind of like treating these. All right. Looks like the solder's through to the other side, so I think we're good. So the way we're gonna be able to tell is once we get it all together, we'll find out if it works or not. That's how I do everything. There we go. Put it over the thing, make sure it slides, yes. All right, so evidently when I manhandled it, I kind of changed the position of this contact here, so it was not moving as well as it should have. Now, it makes a little more noise. Looks like it should work better. So I need to find a battery real quick. Picking out one of the other ones. Okay, so that's a good sign. Okay, there it is. All right, so we're gonna program this guy to number 2. All right, so I got that set to number 2. So a couple cars on track already. So number 5 is Mach 5, so I know that one is this one. So let's see what happens if we program it to number 2. Alright, we'll check some switches. Alright, appears to be a successful operation. Alright, cool. So just to be on the safe side, we'll take this guy who's not programmed to that. I think he's number 4. Code. Alright. Switchy switch. These are really interestingly good modified, by the way. But we'll talk about those some other time. So okay, so that appears to be well done. Seems to work. I have an extra one now since I repaired it. And this is basically, these cars are all Formula 1 chassis that I've modified to work with some toy cars that I picked up, which are kind of interesting cars. Anyway, we can talk about that some other time. Okay, so that's it. Seems like it works. Works okay. Now the next thing to try to figure out is this little goofy thing I got going on down here. Something's happening with this lane changer. All right, well, another project for another Cars and Coffee.